The hallowed halls of Brands Hatch open for what may just be one of my favourite special events of the year. This is Aeon Esports bringing you coverage of the top split of the BRSCC FF1600 Formula Ford Festival. I had the absolute pleasure of attending this event just a few weeks ago live at the circuit, and now virtual drivers are going to get a chance to run around this super short, super tight track in an exciting heat race format that's going to keep us gripped all evening. Just a quick little look at the track and the format. This is going to be a heat race at the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. We have about 50 drivers. It's usually scheduled for 53. 2 heats and a last chance qualifier going into a grand final sprint to the end. Qualifying is due any moment now. So as we approach into that, I'd like to introduce myself and my co-host. I'm Howie Burroughs, now alongside Anthony Cirino here, who will be helping bring you some of the crazy racing that's going to be on display here. How you doing?
I'm pretty alright. I mean, being the resident American to what is a very, very proud British event, it's quite jarring. And I can't imagine what it'll be like, because not being able to see the real thing, this is really my first taste of it. Aside from getting to watch you try your own hand at it just yesterday.
Yeah, I ran this myself yesterday. I ran it a couple times, and it was an absolute treat. It's very much a scramble. It's very much a race to the bottom in many ways. Drivers are just absolutely chasing each other in these super short races to try and make up as many positions as they can on the road, with elimination on the line at every corner. And earlier today, iRacing did their own broadcast of a different time slot of this event, and it was positively carnage. Now, I'm hoping that some of the ego is being caused by drivers just realizing that they were on the official stream. But I hope that we can calm it down a little bit, but I'm still hoping for some really good race. So, drivers are running around their qualifying laps right now in iRacing. These are lone qualifying laps, so we're just going to be seeing each one individually, and they're all running it at the same time. We'll see laps drop in shortly. Just trying to get a view of this very short layout. I put it down as 5 corners. I hope I'm right. Could also be 6. You know, I'll let a professional do the maths. I'll let a professional work that one out. As we take a look on the roll bar of... This is Austin Hervias, about to run his first lap. Can you do your best at walking me through a little lap of this circuit?
Yes. So, run down the long pitch straight down to turn 1 through Paddock Hill, down on the long, very steep downhill, running up into the Druids hairpin, which is where we see a lot of action today. Then from there, we'll go back down the hill towards Graham Hill Bend, which will see a lot of dive bombs, especially onto the grass concrete mixture along Cooper Straight. And then there's a very bit hard corner, McLaren, which leads directly into Clark Curve, which is a hard to get very quick section, as the car wants to just leave you when you're going this quick. And then you will go flying up the straight to finish your lap.
This track with car absolutely no aero, just absolutely, the car loses you everywhere. It's absolutely terrifying. And also,
but it's very fun.
It is a lot of fun. You know, you're really gliding your car around the track unlike anything else. Just take a look at some of these drivers on the grid. We'll be seeing the best possible laps have been set around the 47 mark, but these laps are coming in so thick and fast, it's going to be very hard to perfectly follow. So we'll try and do our best, but there's just so many drivers that each get their own little private grid to themselves. Can you imagine trying to sneak them out on here all in one go in an open qualifying? I feel like there would be death. So
there absolutely would be.
I'm just trying to follow the narrative, but there's just obviously so many laps being set all at once, and this grid on the side is just rapidly changing by the second. Interested to see if any drivers could possibly make it into those 47s. We've seen some of those come out in practice so far.
Yes. And two drivers that we will be keeping a very close eye on who are in this split are two pro Formula drivers of Benjamin Roberts and, correct me if I'm wrong in pronouncing his last name, Brendan Lichtenberg.
I think it is Lichtenberg. I think Lichtenberg is the closest you're going to get to that one, as he sits in the pits right now. He has a P19 as Blake Dowell.
I think he's a bit... He might just be a bit confident, which, we like to see some confidence in these drivers.
Drivers are still just absolutely flying out here. This is Sam Devontier, who I recognise his car from the main broadcast earlier on today on the iRacing channel, it was an exciting show, and this has been running 5 times this weekend across a ton of different splits, a ton of different skill levels. These special events are always a lot of fun because you can run it yourself, and you can run these super awesome, super dedicated iRacing races, and then you can watch the pros do it afterwards on their broadcast split. It's just so nice to be a part of the experience. So, looks like we have a total of 46, 7, 8, 9 sign-ups. This race usually takes about 51 to 52. It probably will affect the number that are going to qualify from each heat, but you can kind of only really tell this stuff as it comes thick and fast. I had a full-size race where we had every driver make it through. I also had a race where we had almost half the drivers, and the format was very, very different on the spot. So, lots of jeopardy on the road. I hope we actually do get a last chance qualifier. I hope we get one that isn't compromised. But time will have to tell, as the last few drivers are finishing their laps now.
And as we can see, actually, one of our pro drivers actually got into the top 10 on his qualifying. Roberts, P8, doing a lap time of 48.541. So neither pro driver even getting into the top 5 on their lap times.
Earlier today there was a 14-year-old go-kart driver who was fighting out with the best with McLaren sponsorship. One of the things that stood out to me when I visited this event, among the many things, first of all, seeing these cars in the flesh, they're hardly the peaks of engineering, but instead they are just super, super cool and nifty to see something so small hustle its way around here from the stands. And this is our last driver on the road, it's Andrea Bellotti. But also quite a few of the drivers bringing unique classic designs. In iRacing, we just ran the Ray FF1600, but in the real world, that's just one of the Formula Ford models available. And a few drivers run actively historic designs that are based upon old F1 designs, tobacco sponsors intact, sometimes with bodywork that looks exactly like the classic cars. It's quite an open spec, the Formula Ford, so it's awesome that iRacing has picked one of the most competitive modern ones, and yes, I did get to see a Formula Ford in the classic iRacing red, white, and grey livery, if you know, you know. But also, just lots of motor racing heritage throughout, as this is an event with heritage by itself. It's been won by Formula 1 drivers, it's been won by Mark Webber, won by Formula 1 champion Jenson Button, and quite many others have shown up. I believe George Russell's shown up once as a little kid. Someone's going to fact check me on that, and I'm going to be embarrassed. But really, they have a giant plaque up in the Kentagon restaurant, which is a hilarious name for a restaurant, because it's a Pentagon and it's in Kent, so they're not wrong. Of the list of champions, it's very much a who's who of popular motor racing figures. It's just so many big names there. You can all just point your finger and you'll find something that has some relevance. So it's an event in real life that has a ton of legacy, a ton of history. It's very, very, very rainy when we did it in real life. Now, thankfully, it's a little bit dry and a little bit clearer on the road, which is going to mean some closer racing as we approach our first heat race. We're going to have to try and bring this to you quick and fast. The starting grid for our first heat race. Will it show? Not quite. Oh, it didn't like that. Yes, it will. Odd drivered positions from qualifying will take up the first race. Logan Platzer on P1, Blake Dowell on P2, Brandon Lowen on P3, Zachary Rivard on 4, Aidan Lewis Ingrata in 5. I'm doing great with these names to start off the day. Jake King in 7th. The top 13 are going to qualify to the final automatically. Aaron Smith the second from North Carolina or South Carolina, in fact, in P7. Savio Paniccia in 8th, Joshua Kennedy in 9th, Alex Ressi in 10th, J.M. Lawrence in 11th, and Justin Cook in 12th. Matthew Breton, 13. Tyler Dubosh, 14. And the list goes on and on and on. We got just over 20 drivers making up this field. I see a Jacob Klein. iRacing celebrity, one could call him for reasons. I also know about this Spice, though. Very, very popular. Very, very popular organizer in some of the IndyCar communities up in P21. Along with William Hockley, James Hunt, probably not the F1 champion. Rounding off with Ignato Reyes. I mean, can you
know what? Two names I missed out of that. Neither pro driver is in this race. That means we will get a race with both pro drivers.
That could be an absolute thrill. Actually,
that could be some very good racing that we could see.
As already, the lights are just about to go off. It's a super, super quick start to the Formula Ford Festival, and we're green. Logan Patzer getting a nice launch with Blake Dowell side by side. There's movement all around behind as we dive into paddock hill. Logan has the advantage. That's Brandon Lowen down behind, and Zachary Rivard hasn't quite made in the space. Blake Dowell looking to try and open this up going into Druids. Lots on the inside for Logan. He's about to get the clearer line. Oh, they're almost locking wheels coming out this corner, but it's looking clean coming out this first few corners of this heat race. Dowell up ahead. Logan on the Patzer on the right-hand side. There's still so many drivers, and we're going to be taking a look down the whole grid very, very soon. They're still side-by-side, heading up into the end of the track. Patzer just about has the advantage. Down behind, that's Ingrata making spaces through the backs as we look just on board here with Zachary Rivard in P5 down behind. And we're looking to go 2 to 3 wide into paddock hill. We've made it out of lap 1 alive for the first set of drivers, but this 10-lap race, it's going to be a very, very quick one. Now, Blake Dowell are still trying to make space on the outside of Druids. I've made moves around their work, but you need a lot of space to make it happen. It's advantage still Patzer. The top 13 qualify. Everybody's alive still. Some nice clean racing to start off the day.
I mean, it's an unexpected one, but definitely a very welcome.
It always boils over eventually. I'll just warn you that. It always boils over.
Well, that's what I want to see. That is absolutely what I want to see.
It's going to get especially dangerous around our transfer spots near the bottom as a gap starts to separate out now. On the number 10 car of Savio Paniccia seems to be leading the end of this row, and then Alex Razzi's got quite a big gap behind. Loden with the fastest lap, still trying to make these moves around Druids, but Logan's so good at covering off this inside. This pack's going to stay together. They're going to stay glued together till the end of time. Down in the back, the fact that Ignato's still in back probably means we still haven't had a crash. See a tiny bit of contact, a tiny bit going loose, but it might not have been damage. We're still running green without any problems on the road. It's going to explode any second.
Oh, somebody just went off the track through McLaren. Who was that?
I'll try.
It was Josh. Josh ran wide through McLaren, went and completely cut McLaren corner.
Try and get a quick replay of this one, but I gotta try and get back live as soon as possible. Not that way. Remember, the first one never ever works. You always need to try it again the next time. The first time I do a replay, it's always a calamity. So let's get back out on here, and I will recover that one as soon as possible. As Dowell's still trying to make this move, it's still not working out completely well, but any second now, I think, and I think Brandon Loden's also going to try and look to make this move. This is just 3 cars in a dogfight.
Yes. It's looking like Brandon here trying to make a move, but at the same time, might be thinking about picking up any scraps from anything that might happen. Because anything can happen in these very slippery, very easy to lose cars.
Yeah,
especially with the very, very close fighting that they've been doing.
I'm scared
from the green flag.
I'm scared on every single corner I drive this thing. So that you could see them almost locking wheels. Rookies would take each other out with this mistake. They're going to still make it work out. And they're still just trying to constantly muscle his way through. Dowdle, the 5 car, he's opened up Loudon to try and make this gap around the outside. This is usually the preferred line, but the car wash is a bit wide. If you try and go flat through here, sticks it up, he's going to have momentum. It looks like Logan is going to make up this P2. And it's still opened up so much conflict down from behind.
You know what I see right now? Logan is a C-class driver. He's not even B-class, and he's giving us some fantastic racing. I think that goes to show class means about nothing anymore.
You have to be very high skill to make it into these races, no matter what. These are obviously
very
matchmaking based. So some of these low license drivers, they adore their Bs, they adore their 1600s, and they will run them to the end of time. Loving that helmet back there on the number 2 car as he tries to muscle his way riven up the inside of Lownard. I've seen a lot of passes happening down the back. There has been an incident. I'm going to make sure that the camera's set up properly before we get to this. So let's just keep looking at what's going on up ahead. As these it's around the top 6, 7 have all stayed in file. Logan Patzer with the fastest lap. Okay, here we go. I've got this, all right? I've got this. I like to believe in myself. I like to believe in the power of the broadcast. Well, this is Josh Makayashri. Oh, that's a difficult name. Looks like he just disappeared, so that wasn't the one. So, worth seeing. Here's James Hunt. Probably not the F1 champion raised out of his grave. And that's Jacob Klein behind as he loses his way down going into Paddock Hill Bend. That gives up 2 positions on the road. That was when, and it looks like we did also pick up just another incident down the road. It is Justin Cook coming up behind the back of that Coca-Cola car. That's 3 cars around. That's Ellis Spice, Justin Cook, and David Fisher. And the cars are flying off the road behind them. That's so many collected right around the transfer spot as well. It's P13 is the dead giveaway. And as tensions are going to start flaring, I think we're going to see more of this. Another one. That's happening while we speak. Savio Pansi. That's the same driver, is it? That's the same driver. Thank you very much. Let's head back live. Let's try and catch up with this grid. There's a few drivers going into the pit stops. There will be a fast repair. It's about front. The battle looks exactly as it was. Pretty hard to pass around here. But it's all working out for them. Still fastest lap by Dowdall. There's such a chase going down here. The winner here gets pole in the feature race. So, positions outside of this top 13 still matter a lot for these drivers. Seeing passes down the road as Kennedy and Britton are battling out for that transfer spot. Here we are on board with Savio Panciata behind on the gyro cam. You get to see just how much this track moves and shakes around. There's so much elevation change. It's so terrifying out here. And he's going to be looking to try and make one of those spots. They're battling up ahead. Logan and Blake, they're still going side by side.
Blake made it around the outside through Paddock Hill. Will he be able to hold it? Will he be able to hold? And he stuck it around the outside.
Final lap. Dowdall and Logan chasing it down. Thatcher looking to try and make this P1 back.
Anything could happen, though. I mean, this is still a 4-way battle all the way to the end.
Winner here gets pole. P2 gets P3. Nice escape from the road for a driver that spun up ahead, keeping it clean. Blake Dowdall on the last lap makes this pass by and clears over the checkered flag. Pole position for our featured race. It's Blake Dowdall. Let's just quickly try to catch an onboard replay of that overtake. The next session's going to start super quick. iRacing gives us no time to slack at all. It's a drag race down the start-finish straight. Outside of Paddock Hill is usually not really where you want to do it. But you do want to open that corner out wide. That gives you exit speed going into Druids. And that makes it tight. And that makes it clean. As we approach the next race already, there's absolutely no time at all to delay, as we have another heat of fresh drivers out that qualifying. Sam Devontier leading this one along with Brendan McLaughlin, Young Zylin in P3, Benjamin Roberts in P4, Carolyn Cyber in P5, Matthew Junior Murphy in 6th, Austin Havias in 7th, alongside Garen Batten on the next row, Jorge Gonzaga. I'm doing my best. It's midnight over here in P9. Andrew Bellotti in 10, with Scott Hasler in 11th and Brendan Lichtenberg in 12th. The last transfer spot currently setting up to Todd Martin in 13th, with Lewis Wilson behind, Justin Ditchburn next to Bill Walker, Andrew Stutzman and Parker Shipaccio in 18, and near the back some more drivers. I'd love to go through them all, but literally iRacing gives us absolutely no time to delay at all, because we're green on the next run. Side by side, it's Devontier and McLaughlin on that front row, with Lynn just about behind. I have some good memories of Sam just from the broadcast earlier today. Lynn might have been the one who was driving with a H shifter though. I believe he was around as well. Everyone looks like they've made it out of the track still cleanly, but these two have made a very clear break away. Lynn leading the group next to the group behind. I'm amazed we've gotten out of the first laps without too much of a problem. Sometimes this sort of stuff is an absolute travesty. Still no incidents on this run as we leave this first lap. Devontier leading up in P1, McLaughlin behind. Devontier is the highest iRating skill driver in this lobby. He's looking to try and make this happen, but Carolyn Cyber, CBR behind, she might be the lowest iRating driver, so we have a huge spread just in this top 5 alone. Devontier keeps that advantage, keeping that inside of Druids. It's nice to have that line, but if it gets taken from you and stolen away from you, that's when there starts to be problems. Lynn holding off Roberts, 1 position back. Still another clean getaway for this field. Only 10 laps they have to settle it though, so it's going to be super tight between them.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Howie, but as amazing as these guys have been, as amazing as I assume these drivers are, I honestly want to see one of these pro drivers end up in the consolation race. Because right now, according to iRacing, only one person from that consolation race will make it on to the feature.
You do not want
Meaning
to
that we will get
in that race. You do not. It's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be hell.
It will be a nightmare. However, that could give us either some of the greatest racing we have seen or some of the best streaming content we can get here on iRacing.
I think it's going to be all elbows out. Here's Lynn still holding that P3 well. Devontier and McCowan. I think I've been calling him McLaughlin. McCowan still tussling out. We see Austin Havias and Garton Batten racing side by side for that P8 position behind Gonzaga. Try to open up the line, hasn't quite made the space. He'd send it free wide the moment he's given a chance. They're still running deeply side by side. The 27 car of Batten making it up ahead for now. He's being squeezed around the outside. You never get a great exit quite like that. He's rapidly losing places. Still just trading places. Coming out of all these corners, they're running dangerously close. I wouldn't trust anyone in my races to be running this close. But that's why we apparently call them pros. Sam and Brendan still in a dead heat for that P1 position. But looking close to the cut line, this is looking like where it's going to be some real drama kicking off, I think. It's Todd P. Martin in the P13 position. He's the one who is at the most risk of leaving. You can see him in that. It's in the John Player special car. He's being followed by Andrew Stutzman, as I think there's been a little incident behind. That's Lewis Wilson going off into the gravel, just about rejoining in time. Stutzman just about making it though, past Martin for that P13 in the Haas car. This is where the eliminations happen at this point on the grid. So this is where the battles could be at their most intense. Still exiting this track. This corner is particularly nasty on the Indy layout, let me tell you. It tightens up a lot quicker than you'd expect. And it's advantage Stutzman for now. We've made it through here without too much anarchy, I'll give you that. As I see Lin just trying to muscle his way into a better position. Drivers here take even positions on the grid for the grand final based upon their current position. There's movement all around. Here's Caroline Sieber. She loses out 1 place to Gatton Barton. There's a big crash down behind. Some drivers have just completely been blasted. Let's just see if I can get on board with some of that. Any second now as some of these gaps start to string out, and I think we just had a big one. This is Todd P. Martin. It's always Druids just sent into the rear, free off. He was competing for a consolation place. How did that happen? We're gonna go into the slow-mo, okay? We have to see this one in exquisite detail. It was 2 cars back. I think
Somebody just...
Oh! It's the 18 car.
He got up
onto the rear.
He got up on the rear. He got up on the rear wheel and just collected. That is unfortunate. That is very, very unfortunate. I'm
seeing some of these drivers now recovering from pit stops. They get a fast repair, but their chances of making into that top 13 get drastically cut the moment they have those sorts of moments. As some of these drivers have almost just given up their day today. Returning back to the field as Sam Devontier. Hopefully we can get snapped back to reality. Brendan McCowan still keeping him honest, though, with the fastest laps. Very hard to make a move around here. This is really a battle for P2 and P4 in the starting positions for the all-important grand final race. Down behind, I'm seeing Garen Batten still leading this little train behind. Who's in that transfer position right now? It's Andrew Stutzman. Quite a big gap to the drivers in front, but quite a big gap to the drivers behind as well. He's safe for now, but really he's going to get a front row view of this queue of drivers that have expanded out in front of him. I'm hoping he doesn't make a mistake himself. I make a lot of those under pressure. You can make a lot of those under pressure. 2 to go at the Brands Hatch Indy circuit before we lock in our drivers for the final.
Let me just say, Carolyn Cyber has put in an amazing effort. You can see that she's been practicing, running 7th in a stacked race of drivers. And she's a sub 2K iRating.
That's very true.
That is very impressive.
For those not familiar with iRacing, you have a skill ranking system called iRating, and these are the highest skill drivers of the hour. 9,000 makes you among the greatest in the world. As Sam Devontier, our 9K driver, crosses the line to claim P1. No, he hasn't. Barney's doing the wrong flag. Am I stupid? But yes, Carolyn, with the 1.9K iRating, makes her an above average driver, for sure, but in an absolute field of some of the greatest in the world. And she's just got to hold her own in her default livery, Ray F of 1600, and she's going to make it to this feature race.
Yes, I'd like to point out that this 1.9K driver is 4 positions up on Lichtenberg, a pro-class driver in Formula. That is amazing.
A fantastic result. I can't wait to see her in the race. That time the flag has checkers on it, which actually does give Sam Devontier his P1 finish. Brendan McLaughlin behind, Benjamin Robertson P3, Lynn in 4th, JR Murphy in 5th as the only dad's car. He has made it great across the line, but having a bit of an incident. Caroline Sieber in P7. Awesome finish from the 49 car, as Andrew Stutzman is our final transfer driver, and we are going to very, very, very quickly now transition into the last chance qualifier, because iRacing gives us absolutely no time to breathe at all. Can you check for me how many plan on advancing here today?
Yes. So it is back to normal. We will be getting 4 from this race that will make it to the finals.
You do not want to be here. This race is going to be a nightmare. I haven't had to race this one myself. I've always qualified in both of my races, but, you know, it's an absolute slugfest, and we're going to have trouble catching all of those drivers on the road. I think it's just... It's always carnage, the last chance. It's always absolute carnage, but it's the sort that makes for a very, very entertaining show. Only 4 make it. They'll be taking the final 4 positions on the grid. Drivers just preparing themselves for the race start now. It'll be 10 laps again. Zier on the left, Rogers on the right. And we are green, green, green. Looks like a bit of a slow launch from the 2 drivers in front. I see a little bit more from the 2 behind, but Zier still makes it into P1 behind Rogers and Cleanard. Look like they're going side by side, and Parker Shipaccio is looking to try and make those moves as well. Only 4 advanced. This is going to be the battle for the ages. Those behind, though, they're going to have to muscle themselves through quite a lot of traffic if they want a chance. Raphael Rogers still running up P1, but all 4 of these drivers, and even a few behind us, we have William Hockley in with review and Lewis Wilson. There's all to play for here.
Oh, who lost it? Somebody just lost it in a Hot Wheels branded car.
That was Parker Shipaccio. That was Parker. He's gone. That gives up a free position on the road. And that's it. Ignacio Reyes Inicio, I noticed, just spun himself. That's his own situation. That was down, but he's given up already. He's retired himself straight out of his Formula Ford Festival. It's basically over for him as it goes. Raphael Rogers has the P1 now, ahead of Zier. He's made a nice move down behind. I see a car. That's Zachary Wenzel. I'm trying to get a view of him. They're all going by too quickly. He spins it wide. He's recovered the car onto the track, but he's just lost out so many places. You don't get much time now to try and make up these gaps. Raphael Rogers leading the road. David Fisher passing his way through. And that's Todd P. Martin. He's really suffered down behind. We saw him crash out earlier. Thankfully, your car can be repaired for the next race straight away. He's running in 20th. And oh, that's a spin. That's a crash. That's more contact. That isn't Todd we are looking at. But that's another driver gone out of the race. Oh, it's traveling so quick. Who's left so far? Now, is Todd Martin. He's left the race, and the John Player Special was running so well in his heat. He is gone. His Formula Ford Festival is over. Raphael Rogers pulling out a good gap up ahead. William Hockley down behind in that last transfer spot, and Nathan Vernay is within a fighting chance. Other drivers in with a shot. Logan Edwards, few gaps behind. Jacob Klein, Christian Ollerson, Lewis Wilson. All of these drivers could do it. I wouldn't try to make any predictions out of this race. But the top 4 have made it cleanly out alone. William Hockley still just about keeping that position over Nathan. He's gonna look for an eye in the moment he can. You know this.
Oh, of course, but I think it'd be smart if he plays it a little slow. Now, granted, there isn't many laps, but there is enough time. With enough pressure applied, he can very easily make that position without doing much of the legwork.
Let's get those moves done safely when the time is right. I found as we have a few citizens trading back on down the road. These drivers are going to want places. Jacob Klein getting past Lewis Wilson on the outside. He's running that. I think that's the Ralph Schumacher helmet. Cars getting very, very close to each other. Still no risk of contact, though. They're going too wide, 2 rows down. David Fisher and Christian Olsen as well. Alice Spice in the rear, trying to take a peek in with that Nikon 24 car. Jacob Klein's gotten the better of the position. They're all scrambling back here. Just out of Lewis Wilson in the state car. Out of all the liveries you chose to recreate, man. Out of all the liveries in the world. Just Julian Ditchburn. Look to get an iron. That's a spin. That's Christian Olesen. He can consider his race over on the spot with 6 to go. So the pressure's boiling over back here. The pressure's boiling over.
Nathan Verney getting a massive run on the main straight, trying to get that 4th position back before this race is over.
Oh, almost runs into the back
loses
of
it.
Hockley.
I think he lost it trying not to run into the back of him. I think he might have locked up something.
This is the thing I've noticed a lot from running this, is there's only one tight braking zone on the whole track, and it's here, and it's not even full power. So you have drivers with significant pace differences coming up on each other that just have those little gaps in speed. You know, you've got a better exit, but you're closing in on someone, but it's not much of a passing opportunity. It leads to some really, really scary little moments. I'm going to confess my sins. I've run someone over in an FF Festival race because around this corner he got loose and ran slowly. And what am I going to do? He got loose and ran slowly. I mean, I gotta make. I'm not deliberately trying to do it, but like, you don't get much time to react in some of these corners. As we see Raphael Rogers, he's spun, he's down, he's out completely. I can
Almost.
I mean,
almost
you
taking out Nathan and Logan Edwards in the process.
Oh, she took too much curb going at a paddock hill, and that's P1. That's his spot in the feature, and it's very possibly gone because he is now out in P11. There's no way. There's no way with this long to go. I don't think so. At least.
Only about 3 laps left, unless he pulls a masterclass of laps. It's over.
Yeah, Christian
It is
Ollison and
absolutely over.
Shapaccio getting into more drama down behind. Might as well race for it, even if you're not going to make it into the full race.
Nathan Verney might have just gotten his godsend.
Very true. He had that mistake earlier today, but also Logan Edwards is just on the hunt just behind. This is Lilac Zia's chance now to make it into the race. William Hockley's chance to make it. Ellis Spice there, trying to muscle out Jacob Klein. We see some great driving and great battling back here. Little bit of a tap. Oh, they're going to try and make it free wide. That's David Fisher looking for his opportunity. Just about tucks it in. Doesn't quite do the scary thing. Faster lines around the outside here. Ellis is going to have it. Actually, fast line's on the inside, but he's definitely gotten the faster line out on that outside. They're going to keep fighting for that place all day long. Logan Edwards all over the rear of Nathan Verney. He's now the next driver looking to try and claim this position back. Lewis Wilson behind him with the fastest lap, with only 2 to go. You know, fastest laps are decided within split seconds here. This is the battle that's going to count. It's Logan Edwards on Nathan Verney. I mean, you're only fighting for the back 4 positions here, so I'd say they're less important to go for if you're in that top 3, but this position is going to be worth absolutely everything for Logan.
Here we go, I think. We're going on final lap, I think.
It will be the final lap. That flag, I can confirm, has white and no checkers. You know, I really, you could call me a consummate professional of this scene. I can tell the difference between flags. Logan, trying to make that through. That's not the view that's going to help me see that. That's the view that's going to help me see that. A little bit of tyre smoke. He's lost his chance at Druids. He's going to need to try and...
and he lost it.
He's going to need a chance to pass, but it looks like it's falling away from him. Lewis Wilson could pass him for the P5, but it's only for a point of pride. Hamish Cleland, Lilac Zia, William Hockley, and Nathan Verney make it into the final race through an electrifying last chance qualifier.
Even if it was for the final position, I think a round of applause most goes to Nathan for that amazing fight and just being gifted by the hands of God that 4th position he needed.
So that's the end of the event for a lot of drivers down behind. Logan Edwards all the way down, but they've provided a great show and they've been a lot of fun. Better luck next time, Ellis. That's all I'll say. Better luck next time, Ellis. I believe in you for the next time around. I really do. So we move on to our final. It's been a super, super rapid pace transformation. I wish we had a little bit more time, but this is the feature. This decides the winner of the festival. Blake Dowell in P1, Sam Devontier in P2, Logan Fatzer in 3 with Brandon McLaughlin in 4th, Zachary Rivard in 5th, and Benjamin Roberts takes up 6th, Brandon Loden 7th, Youngzai Lin in 8th, Jake King in 9th with Matthew Jr. Murphy in 10th, Aidan Lewis in Grata in 11th, and Garen Barton in 12th. I'll just run through a few more. We have Alex Grassi in 13th, Caroline Saber, 2K Legend in 14th, JM Lawrence in 15th, Scott Hassler in 16th, Aaron Smith in 17th, and Jorge Gonzaga in 18th, as we just track our way down the back of this grid. Lots of drivers to go through, and you know as well as I that iRacing is going to give us no time to give everybody the time they truly deserve, as we go green on the final of the Formula Ford Festival. Blake Dowell and Sam Devontier side by side going down Paddock Hill. It's Dowell advantage Dowell, not advantage Murphy, like my timing software says. It's advantage Dowell coming out of turn 1, but it's tight and it's close. I see incidents behind. I see movements behind. Just taking a look at Jorge Gonzaga here. Oh, I thought we had incidents, but it turns out no. It's just a lot of people passing into these early corners. It's all cleanly done. This has been so much cleaner than this is the cleanest Formula Ford Festival race I've seen all day, and I've seen quite a few of them, I think you'll find.
Now, I will say, this is double race length, 20 laps instead of 10. Now we'll see what drivers have done, because there's always the chance somebody might have messed up on their fuel load. So we'll see what happens. Because if somebody messed that up, it'll be very interesting.
I'd say, if you do that, then you failed to launch the fixed setup that's fueled for 20 minutes. But I mean, someone could easily do some silly mistakes. I've seen some crazy stuff out here. So I hope for them that they don't make mistakes that silly. That is Jake King going wildly off the track and backwards down behind. I don't know if he's taken damage from that one. In fact, William Hockley looks like he may have also been a little bit slow. Looking here, up front, still lots of passing down behind. I think Aaron Smith is running slowly. I'm not sure if anything's happened to him, if we just had a terrible exit. He's been tumbling down the order. Blake Dowell side by side with Sam Devontier. Brendan McLaughlin just a little bit behind next to Logan Patzer. This is every time I see them go down here, it is an absolute treat. Fastest lap to Benjamin Roberts in P6. I'm just staring at that, Scott. I'm just staring at that. Every time I see that smiley face on Zachary Rivard's helmet, it makes me smile. I run the Grimace helmet. You can see that one from a mile away in these cars. But that's about as good. I saw someone on the official broadcast with the skeleton head. I mean, people are going to get into the spooky season just a couple days late. But you know what? We want to put off the memory of Christmas as soon as possible. Still, this top 4 remaining clean for now. Just a few other drivers I'm noticing. Benjamin Roberts leads this pack and then it's Youngjae Lin down behind. JM Lawrence in 12th. I've not found. There's a 2K driver, William Hockley, that made it to this final in 21st, and Caroline Saber in 14th. The racing gets competitive here now. One of our esports drivers, Benjamin Roberts, the F4 esports driver, as you pointed out plenty of time, he's in P6, so he's within a fighting chance. Sam Devontier on board now. You don't send crazy moves here. You don't send wild ones. But
well, you should.
Every little gap that opens up, well, you shouldn't. Yeah, true. Especially with this many stakes on the line.
You shouldn't. But as a very fond NASCAR and sports car driver, you should absolutely send it. You gotta have fun with it.
These cars just blow up. You do it in the last lap. You give us a green, white, checkered moment, all right? You give us the hype of the show. You don't blow your load early, okay? You save it all for the very end.
All right.
Halfway through those words, okay. I recognized that I was going down a path that I didn't want to replicate. And that simply was an accident, and I formally apologize to all of the children in the audience. Don't ask your parents, please.
Do. do. We can't stop you.
I mean, I can't stop you, but I'm just telling you what's good for you. Sam Devontier looking to try and make it up the inside of Paddock, downside up to the inside of Druids. I've been to this track loads of times, and I'm getting the corner names wrong. I can't believe it. The Americans got me beat. Sam Devontier takes up the P1 from Darrell. A nice move, given the space, cleanly executed. Darrell's going to look for the revenge now.
But he's going to be careful on that revenge, because if he makes any small mistakes, we'll have 3rd, 4th, and 5th place to pick up any loose scraps.
This top 5, they're just
Logan here at 4th.
Tied.
Especially people like Logan and Zachary Rivard in 4th and 5th. These people don't want to give up any positions, but they want to take it all.
I see. Oh, it's almost risking contact.
It's almost 3 wide.
Zachary Rivard can make that inside space work. He's going to try and force Logan Patzer wide. He's going to give him the space, but you get the advantage down Graham Hill. You see, I can get these corner names right. Run wide all the way out onto that AstroTurf. They are absolutely dead even. And it's advantage Rivard. For now. Benjamin Roberts still looking in from behind. I think he's being patient. He's waiting for this to explode rather than make a bold, crazy move. The pressure's going to heat up and up and up and up all the way to the end among this top 6. What a race. Big gap, but with Lynn behind. I believe he was the one that was spotted earlier today with Race Spot with a H-shifter pattern. You know, he literally has by the side like a full stick shift that he's using alongside a Formula wheel. He could use the paddles and he just chooses to use the stick shift instead. That's what I call the most supreme driving of all time. Actually.
I think that just means he already wins. I think he just wins.
Well, the H-shifter driver had a pretty bad time in his feature last time, but P7 on the road. I hope it's the same guy. I think it's the same guy. There are some names that have popped up twice, some cars that have reappeared and just want to run all these time slots. So that would be lovely to know if it were the case. Brandon McLaughlin. Oh, they're wheel banging going into Paddock Hill, but Brandon's going to
diving up the inside.
Blake Dowell now. It's not over for him at all. He has the advantage going into Druids. They're still so close. There's still no contact. I can't believe they're keeping it respectful at this stage. This is
no, not anymore. Brandon shoving him out of the way.
Blake Dowell, you're right. He just got blasted. He just got
bullied.
You know what? Sometimes you give him a bit of rubbing his racing, even just looking at some other incidents. It's JM Lawrence. Little mistake.
And what I can say is Zachary up to 2nd place, though, from that incident between Brandon and Blake, picking up the scraps and just slipping right past.
As we see, yep, we're back. Hopefully, don't tell me replay. Tell me live. That's the truth. As there's still some combat right up front. Brandon McLaughlin, he's losing out. It's a spin there. That's Zachary Rivard. He can consider his Formula Ford Festival just as much as over. I don't think we had any contact there, but just losing it going down into Graham Hill. And that's the end of that race. That opens up. Now, Benjamin Roberts, a free position. He is playing the patient game here. He is playing the patient game. Oops. Don't press that button, people. Don't press that button. You'll end up in places you don't expect.
Going around the outside, back up to 2nd place. Logan going around the outside of turn 1.
Tight. Still a squeeze. Still, we're clenching every time they make it around the corner. We are absolutely losing it.
As somebody who's done enough IndyCar this week, seeing that makes me hurt. Like, that is too close. As somebody who's done enough Indianapolis this week.
Trying to just grab a quick little replay of this little incident. This was Zachary Rivard. He just lost it under his own power. That's unlucky. It's sad that it has to happen, but that's what this race tests in these no downforce cars. No, don't call them low downforce. It's no downforce. They live on that slip angle. They live where the tires are just a little bit slippery and a little bit greasy. That's why you get the speed out of Miranda as you glide around the circuit. As battling now between Andrew Stutzman and Brendan Lichberg down behind. As they clean each other out through Druids. And it's Stutzman up ahead in the 43 car that has made the advantage for now. Sam Devontier, he's the P1 car. He is, iRacing would call him the highest skill driver in the lobby by their standards, and he has now set the pace. He's due to lead with 9 to go. We're only halfway through this absolute slugfest.
Yes, I was about to say, Sam running away with it in more than enough clean air at the moment, where as long as he keeps his nose clean and runs his laps, he will be home free. But we will see how that goes.
Yeah, lap traffic's
as
a
we've
factor
seen
in the real race, but I'm not looking like it could come up in this one. Everyone's actually pretty much kept their noses clean, apart from a couple. As down behind that, you just find that one down behind. I think we just had was that Young Zai Lin? I think we did just see someone fly themselves off the road. We're on the replay right now. And, yep, that was Young Zai Lin. He's had another bad one of it coming out into those final corners. He slips back, but I mean, the win wasn't on the cards for him at this stage, but he's not out of this. He's not taking that lethal damage that sent him to the pit lane. So the show must go on. How are these drivers, do you think, going to catch Sam at this point? There's a little bit of draft here within about 0.7 of a second, but it's going to be tricky. Still looking down behind Logan Patcher with Brandon and Benjamin tussling it out behind. It's very, very, very nip and tuck between this top four. They almost think there's elimination on the line now. There's even better. There's race glory, and there's a race glory and a great race position down as Zachary Rivard is climbing his way back up the field. He's in P9, just making a pass on Garen Batten. He is the number 2 driver, and he is very, very fast. I want to see how many positions he can make up. He's got 2.4 on the road to his next competitor. Here's Tyler Dubosch as they go almost 3 wide here into Druids. That's brave. That's treacherous. They're going to make it work. William Hockley looks like he gains out, but there's contact on the road, and that's 2 sent wide. That's Austin Hervias sent out as well. He's been sent. They're all getting out there with no damage, but you do not want to go 3 wide in these cars. Don't even risk it. Don't even talk about it. William Hockley back on the road. As that's down behind, that's Nathan Werner. He had a great consolation race, but obviously being that last chance winner, it only gets you into the back of the grid. Zachary Rivard still making up places. Wouldn't call a win on the cards, but it's looking good. Gonzaga's gone off the road, giving up positions to Carolyn Saber. And a good more, in fact. More than just one. He's spun it and lost it. You can see the pressure amplifying, building. His final laps are on the way, and more people are now making mistakes in this warm British day at Brands Hatch, which is, well, really an aberration, I think. When was the last time it was warm here?
Yeah, I'd say that's about the most unrealistic thing this sim has had to offer yet. Perfect weather, warm temperatures in Britain. That's unheard of.
I couldn't watch the final when I was here. I loved the event and I got to see some races, but the final was so wet and so windy that, like, it was very hard to watch. But I would, if you watch one thing at the end of today, go to the BRSCC YouTube channel, watch the live stream of the Formula Ford Festival as it happened a few weeks ago, and watch the final. Absolutely fairy tale stories throughout that grid. It's in the wet. The drivers are losing their mind. There is crazy contact and competition. It's art, all right? It is cinema distilled in a single 20-lap race. This iRacing one, though, has brought us plenty of entertainment and plenty of great moments. Sam Devontier is pretty home free. Logan Patcher wants to make up this P2 to see if he can make the chase with being stuck behind another car. It's always going to slow you down. It's very hard to make any of these moves truly happen. You get a little bit of draft, but only on these 2 very short straights, and neither of them give you very clean exits.
Sorry to cut you off there. Big death back lap down 24th position through turn 1.
That's Benjamin Roberts.
I saw some people getting flipped.
And that's Jorge Gonzaga. Yeah, then there's Matthew Jr. Murphy. I think this might be what you're talking about. Has Junior Murphy absolutely... Show me that one again. It's the only dad's car. Someone up ahead has lost it. It's the 45 up ahead that spun off the back, and oh, he's been sent packing. He's walking home with a concussion.
Oh, another.
Is there another
I think somebody just went 3 wide. I think somebody just went 3 wide through turn 1.
There's so much to note. There's so much to note. There's so much to try and catch. Trying to see. Thinks William Hockley crashed. Now he made it back onto the road. There's so much going on here. It's Brendan Lichberg. So there's just such a big grid. There's more drivers being sent out on turn 1. That's 3 drivers, Sergio Panciata and Brendan Lichberg, done along with Aaron Smith II. Oh my God, yeah, I mean, it's really boiling out now.
No luck.
It's really boiling out now.
Should have kept practicing.
Nah, the crazy things can happen to you on this track, and I wish I could catch every single last one of them. Still, battles further down the road. Garen Bratton, side by side, down Paddock Hill, going into Druids alongside the 2 of Zachary Rivard. Brandon Loden also making the chase with Alex Rassi behind. But we are about to approach the end of this race. As great as all these battles and all these drivers will have a fantastic story of today to tell. We have our winner as Sam Devontier. He gets a clean and easy one, actually, as he gets to start from the front and finish on the front. As he crosses the line, he wins the Formula Ford Festival. We don't have radio, unfortunately. We don't have radio. Blake Dowell finishes in P2 and Logan Patcher in P3. There's so much we could have caught. I'm going to try and catch some of these moments, but as you know, like, there's so much to see. So what happened to Brendan? What happened here? Yeah, little mistake up ahead.
Another wheel hop incident, and he just looks like he's locked up, possibly trying to get out of the way.
I want to try and we're even gonna rewind time and try and get this one on board just to work out what the hell happened here, because that was we did indeed witness death. That's Matthew Jr. Murphy, isn't it? I'm doing my best. I swear, I'm doing my best. So it's a small little incident up ahead. Oh, it's the 45 losing it by himself. 11's got nowhere to go, and Murphy also has nowhere to go. Oh, in real life, that would have hurt a lot. Thankfully, we know all the drivers are okay coming out of this, as that's our win across the line now.
Well, with a great win to Sam, all I can say is his iRating isn't winning. I doubt he gained much of anything. 9.8k driver. At most, if I had to guess, probably gained about 10 after this fantastic racing he did today.
That's iRacing for you. That's iRacing for you. It never rewards you. But you enter these events for the fun and for the joy of it. And we do have our final result of the feature race on the road.
The reward was the racing.
The reward was the racing. Aussie or New Zealand, I can't quite tell. Just from the club name. Sam Devontier wins the race. Blake Dowell in P2. Logan Patcher finishing in third, with Brendan McLaughlin just behind. Aidan Lewis in Grata in fifth, and Alex Razzie in sixth. Brendan Lowen behind him was Zachary Rivard in eighth. Big gap behind to Garen Batten in P9 with Benjamin Roberts in 10. Now, we've got all the time now. Let's give a shout out to every driver that made it today. Young Jai Lin in 11th with Scott Hassler in 12th behind him. Matthew Breton and Caroline Sieber. What a fantastic result for someone who was probably very, very scared by the race they ended up in when they queued up today. Andrea Bellotti in 15th, with JM Lawrence behind, Jorge Gonzaga in 17th, and Tyler Dubois in 18th. Lilac Zia in 19th, with Nathan Verney in 20th. Let's keep going. There were a lot of entries today. Shout out to Hamish Cleland, Austin Herbias, Brendan Lichtenberg, Joshua Kennedy, Aaron Smith, Andrew Stutzman, Jake King, Savio Panicia, Matthew Juna Murphy, William Hockley. Is there more? That was all of the feature race, but there were plenty more that made it through the other rounds on the road. But what a thrill! What a ride! What a crazy hour of racing! Oh, what are you going to take away from that one?
I mean, aside from the fact that I would be scared to do this, just that it was fantastic racing.
I'd be very scared to drive along these drives, but it was a ton of fun. And if you can make it next year, let me tell you, you need to try and make it next year. I mean, it's absolute joy. Also, just a quick, I would have loved to try and get this shout out in a little bit earlier, but Aeon Esports are hosting their special tournament event of their own with cash prizes and a special broadcast show as we bring mini stock cars to road circuits. Head to www.aeonesports.com. I'm about to put the link in the description, and for those who are here now in the chat, they shouldn't ban me for posting links in my own chat to sign up for this fantastic event. It's going to be an absolute roller coaster with these cars as we head to some of iRacing's greatest tracks, including this one. And to talk about this one, we're going to be back here next week, I believe, because we have an extra show on this channel, and we're going to be bringing you some fantastic top split races throughout the rest of the iRacing season. So take a look out on the live tab on our YouTube channel right now to get a look at the top split weekly as we head to the Clio Cup in just a few days from now. That's the title card transition. Anthony will be here with me again. We'll be on the same track again, although probably a slightly less chaotic format on the 6th. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out the live tab, and you can find out more about him. I've been Howie Burroughs. This has been Anthony Cirino. We've had a fantastic and exciting race. And stay subscribed, stay racing. We may see you out there one day yourselves. Bye for now.